Hi everyone, it's Alison here. Welcome to my living room. It's great to have this chance to share with you today. I've got to admit, I'd have preferred an earlier slot in the schedule before my DIY haircut, but it wasn't to be. You know, one of the verses I love in the Bible is in Luke 2, verse 19, and it's about Jesus' mother, Mary, and it's recorded after the shepherds had been to see her new baby. It says, Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. Now, during these past few weeks, pondering has become one of my new pastimes. I've had so much more time than usual to do it, and it's been easy to spend time thinking about what I've heard on the news or read on the internet about the virus. But what I've also been trying to do is to spend time pondering on treasured truths, on Bible verses that I've known for many years, just stopping and thinking about them again, taking time to meditate on them, instead of just letting them pass by. And I found that so encouraging. But I've also been pondering about some of the new words and phrases which have become part of our coronavirus vocabulary. Things like shielding, social distancing, and personal protective equipment, and trying to draw some spiritual analogies from them. And I'd like to share one or two of them with you today. And I've got a couple of props to show you too. Hopefully, you all remember seeing graphs like this at the daily government briefings at the start of this crisis. It showed the current NHS resources and the predicted pull on those resources once this epidemic took hold. And the phrase that kept being used was flatten the curve. We were being asked to take action to reduce the pull on the NHS. And that's why we're doing all this social distancing or shielding, to ensure that we don't stretch the capacity of the NHS beyond its limits. And it's not just there where we've seen resources being stretched. We've seen it in the supermarkets with empty shelves due to panic buying, and we've heard about frontline staff in the NHS running out of the PPE they desperately need. You know, in complete contrast to this, the Bible tells us that God's resources are limitless. There's no need to worry about having to flatten the curve when we take our concerns and requests to Him. You know, at the beginning of this crisis, when people asked how I felt about it, a word I kept using was overwhelmed. And that's how I did feel. The changes felt so big and came so quickly, and the forecasts seemed so frightening. I really felt overwhelmed. But more recently, I have allowed myself to be overwhelmed instead by what the Bible teaches us about God. Let me read some of these verses to you today. About His love, Lamentations 3, verse 22. How enduring is God's loyal love. He has inexhaustible compassion. About His peace, Philippians 4, verse 7. God's peace goes beyond anything we can imagine. It's far beyond human understanding. About His patience, Psalm 103, verse 8. The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love. About His goodness, Psalm 31, verse 19. How great is the goodness you have stored up for those who fear you. You lavish it on those who come to you for protection, blessing them before the watching world. About His wisdom, Romans 11, verse 33. We cannot wrap our minds around God's wisdom and knowledge. Its depths can never be measured. And about His power and strength, Ephesians 3, verse 20. He is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. Did you get that? Enduring, inexhaustible, unfathomable, abounding, endless, exceedingly abundantly. Did you hear all those adjectives? Can you tell I've been doing homeschooling? Ponder these treasures today. God's shelves are never empty. He doesn't need to ration his love or his mercy or joy or power. His resources are inexhaustible. Be overwhelmed by that today. So that's all very well, and it's good to remind ourselves about the greatness of God. But that's not the end of it. If it was, it would be like rocking up to Morrison's, looking in the window, seeing all the shelves well stocked, but the door's locked. No, it's not like that at all. These resources are available to us all of the time. He wants to share all of these with us. He wants us to overflow with love, patience, kindness, hope, joy, peace, and so on. I want to tell you about something else I feel God has been trying to tell me during this period of lockdown. And it kind of relates back to this graph. You know, as well as flattening the curve, the government has been working to increase the capacity of the NHS to stretch that line higher. And stretching is something I feel God has been speaking to me about. Let me grab another prop. So I feel like God's been saying to me, you know, Alison, there are some areas in your life where you think you've been doing pretty well and you've settled for a certain level, but it's below your potential. And I want you to think about stretching a bit more. You know, when we are pushed out of our comfort zones, some of our weaknesses start to be exposed. And we have a chance just now to work on some of those weak areas and build up a bit of muscle. And I feel like God's been saying to me, this is a period of stretching. You think you're patient? I can show you how to be even slower to anger. You think you show compassion towards your family? But I want to stretch you and show you what it means to love your neighbour, or maybe even your enemies, and how not to grow weary in doing good. You think it's okay to hold a grudge against someone as long as you don't make it too obvious? But I want to show you how to forgive, not just 7 times, but 70 times 7 times. You think you trust in me? But all your plans for this summer are going to be turned upside down. And I want to teach you what it really means not to lean on your own understanding, to give me control and to be content in every situation. Last week, my daughter Julia said to me that she felt like she was in hibernation. And I kind of know what she meant. In fact, she's even become a bit nocturnal. But I don't think God wants us to hibernate at the moment. He doesn't want us to curl up in a ball and hunker down until all of this is over. He wants us to grow and mature during this period. He wants us to stretch. In Corinthians 6, verse 12 to 13 in the Message, Paul says, "Dear Corinthians, I can't tell you how much I long for you to enter this wide open, spacious life. We didn't fence you in. The smallness you feel comes from within you. Your lives aren't small, but you're living them in a small way. Open up your lives, live openly and expansively." It will be a challenge, and it might be a bit inconvenient, uncomfortable, or even painful. Like the first day after I did PE with Joe Wicks. But God's resources are here for us. So lean in, draw on them, and stretch. So to sum up, be overwhelmed by what you know to be true about God. His love, His faithfulness, grace, His mercy. Draw on His unlimited supplies of patience, peace, joy, wisdom. And don't miss this opportunity to stretch and enlarge your spiritual capacity. He wants to bless you and allow you to hold more of His love, joy, hope, and peace. So, happy pondering, and I hope you have a good day.